Oh, I was too slow. Give me just 1 second. Where is it? There it is.
Welcome to your awakening. Please take off as your reality is adjusted.
And good morning, Global Gulag. Welcome back again. I should say Global Digital Gulag, because we're in the modern age with all the digital trappings to go with it. Sorry, I'm flicking through tabs and clicking buttons at the same time. You know what I'm like. A moment or two late, but that's fairly usual for us. No, give me live chat, please, YouTube, not your crappy top chat. Yeah, remember, change it to live chat, because otherwise Google curates the chat room and removes some comments. It's nothing to do with us. We don't block any comments. We don't have a blacklist or anything. So if your comment's not getting through, don't blame us. It's just Google being Google. Yeah. The way this modern society is, yeah, you might say something that they think you're not allowed to share with others. So just be aware. I'll say a quick hello to everyone in the chat. Kitty was first in the chat on YouTube. Anyway, meow meow. Hello to you. And Rick, good evening, Rick. James, good evening, mate. And Genuinely Concerned, good evening. Yeah, James, you were slacking again. James is usually first in the chat, you see. So, and Rick, good evening. I've already said hello to you. Yes, sir. Hello again. Rebecca, hello. I hope you're doing well. You at work? Yeah, of course you are. Yeah, because of the timing. Well, I hope you have a good day and listening in. That's cool. Thank you. Good to see you in the chat again. Mascara Snake, good evening. Roberta Rhymes, Words, Greasy Birds, hello to you. Patrick, good evening, Pat. And I'm scrolling as quick as I can. Lopsum, good evening, mate. I'm trying to be quick because we want to get on with it and chat with our guests.
Yep.
So I'm just saying a quick hello to everyone. Apologies if I miss anyone out. You know the usual score.
All right.
Made in UK, hello. Yes, thank you. Scrolling. Mahatma, good evening, mate.
Oh, my.
And hello to all the lurkers and time travelers, which there might be.
Pat as well.
I said hello to Pat.
Oh, Roberto Rhymes. Roberto's done a little rhyme for Sam. In times of confusion, starfish troopers shatter and all illusion and illustrate the convergent collusion. A guest who is equally capable of criticism is Swilliamism, a thoroughly gentlemanly citizen.
Okay. Well, we can ask him if he enjoys being a citizen or not. Yeah. That could be one of those questions. But yes, hello, we are chatting with Swilliamism, and Borked has joined us as well, just to keep an eye on Sam, make sure he doesn't do anything crazy.
He's my NSA handler.
Yeah. Prevent you from getting yourself into severe problems. Yeah.
Is he 33 years of age, Sam?
He is. He's always been 30. He was born 33 when he stepped out of the tank.
Yeah. He's Sarah Connor. Sarah Connor.
Good choice.
Have you seen this woman? Yeah. But yes, hello, welcome, Sam.
Hi.
It's
I
can't honor. Think. Yeah, I was going to say it's an honor. I was just thinking, like, when is the last time you did any kind of interview or group chat with others?
I literally never do them. I normally turn them all down. So you guys, for whatever reason, I thought, these guys seem cool.
Well, I asked you many years ago, back in, I think it was maybe 2016, 2015, 2016, something like that, yeah. And you knocked us back then at the time.
Oh, did I? Yeah, I normally just give a flat no
my
to
Dutch charm.
Yeah, he sent you a pair of clogs. That was it. You were sold.
Uh-huh. Yeah, good connection for weed. So yeah.
But no, it's cool. I get it. And, you know, not everybody wants to do these kind of streams. You know, it's not. It's not an indication of your bad intent in that respect, is it? If anything, it's better in some of this digital environment. It's better to keep to yourself. You know, it allows you to work on your own point of view and make videos in the way that you want to make them without being influenced by the audience, for one thing, but also other people that you're interacting with. You know?
Yeah, and also not appearing on lists. You know, there are some people who invite you on their shows who are, let's say, on the list of like Hope Not Hate or whatever.
Yeah,
I didn't particularly want to join them.
Well, I'm saying I'm not sure if it was the Hope Not Hate one. It was the one that did the rounds back in 2018. I think it might have come out the ACLU in America originally, and it was linked to all that campaign of the anti-hate stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I found out afterwards my channel was on that list. And then in 2019, they deleted my channel because I was speaking too much about the COVID stuff. So, yeah, I think I was tagged for observation, and they decided, that's it, off, you said too much now. But yeah. Well, that would be a good place to start in that respect. Like, Pete, did you want to play that little intro video? Are you happy?
Shall we do that? Yeah.
This is kind of like an introduction. Well, Pete, you explain it.
It's a very general kind of a take on what Sam is doing. For those that don't know Sam's work, I highly advise you to check his channel and go all the way back and check all of it, because the old stuff is now more relevant than ever. So I think I caught some of that in this intro. So just watch and enjoy. Here we go.
So, hello, it's the 8th of December 2011. This is Truth You Can Wake Up To, and I'm your host, Samuel William. It's coming bundled together in what's called the Great Repeals Bill, or a Great Repeal Bill, which is a whole swathe of European law that's going to be passing into UK law, really without any debate process in the Houses of Parliament. It's called the GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation, and it's going to be coming into force in May next year, 2018. And having had a read through it, I found it quite interesting. We'll probably be aware that for quite some time we've all been data subjects, whether we like it or not. In fact, anyone who knows anything about William the Conqueror 1,000 years ago, he compiled the Doomsday Book. So you could argue that even back then, 1,000 years ago, names and addresses and habits and political persuasion and economic status and that sort of thing. But it seems that now and in the future, it seems the big business model and where the money really is to be made in the future is the collection and analytics of genetic data. It's made me realize that because this is coming, that's why so far ahead of time a particular company has started to corner the market in the analytics of genetic data. Oh look, revolving door. Create a data monopoly for chosen, trusted global corporations. And in a way you could call that genetic feudalism. The point is, just like it was for communities under William the Conqueror 1,000 years ago, the point is we need to learn how to protect ourselves, especially. Well, it's not too strange over there. That's the the current utopia of business, otherwise known as Canary Wharf. Some people going on a nice boat journey. It's actually It's quite a high security building, except nobody ever really works here. Let's look at the writings of John Outram, who by all accounts possibly took too much LSD in the 1960s. Really interesting things. One of the things he says, you can actually even see me, one of the things he says is that he talks about something called the cancellus, that in ancient architecture, to mark the end of a walkway or to mark the edge of a pathway, they would use a diagonal trellis called a cancellus. Yay! And, signal of the smart cities agenda coming into force. Then the environment of Canary Wharf. There are so many people who work here. There's so much sort of faux Mayan temples that are littered around on the landscape. There's objects like this. When the authentic versions were built in the ancient world, they were essentially a constant reminder on the landscape of the presence of God. A kind of control mechanism to control and not subdue people, but keep them peaceful and ordered. Definitely tell, because they're about looking up towards the all-knowing, all-perceiving ruler. And of course humans actually like chaos, they like spontaneity, they like things that are unpredictable, but that doesn't necessarily work very well for business. So I just wonder if we're sort of being pushed to be more machine-like, more like efficiently operating robots, isn't that just destroying our humanity? I love CCTV in 2025 because you can see them. In the movie 1984 and the book, the cameras that Big Brother uses to surveil everybody, the whole of society, are integrated into the telescreens. They're invisible. And that book is our future. But why? You must have noticed that little by little, bit by bit, elements of society are losing their impulse control. Slowly but surely, there is more and more feral behaviour in our towns and cities. Society is regressing into a more feral, wild, animal-like state. Oxford streets. Did you know that they are going to pedestrianise Oxford Street? They actually did a little trial the other day, which apparently was a momentous success. Behavioural data. There is, of course, an agenda with one slight drawback. They will, of course, need crime to happen. Petty theft, antisocial behaviour, and all the good stuff. They will need that to happen to train their systems. They do have the infrastructure here for large bandwidth data collection. You can tell because of this. So keep an eye on Oxford Street when it becomes pedestrianised in about a year, because you can count on the fact that crime will rise by design.
Sure. So there we go. Thank you very much for listening. Go on my YouTube channel, Swilliamism, for more shows by me. Until next time, I have been Samuel William, and this has been Truth You Can Wake Up To.
Oh, we all disappeared. And we're back.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's just doing its thing.
That's a nice little throwback, isn't it?
That guy's good. The music,
Yes, isn't he? Yeah.
especially the young one. Remember the young one from the beginning of that intro?
He was very fresh-faced, wasn't he? He
Yeah,
didn't look haggard by the sheer stress of having to deal with the craziness. Yeah.
I always wondered how he got the sound right with the mic on his head. Like, how does he do that?
A separate microphone, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm guessing.
do separate sound.
Uh,
The
When-
amount of things you capture accidentally when you do separate sound is amazing. And my hobby is interrogating police officers. You know, when you go to protest
Yeah.
stuff, they're just hanging around and they're bored and they just want to have a conversation. And as long as you're, you know, friendly and articulate, they sort of they drop their guard a little bit. And so, yeah.
Well, you've seen that in the last video, right? Where you
What's
kind
that?
of instruct them almost like,
Oh,
Yeah.
hey
God.
guys,
yeah.
don't pay attention to me.
I'm just reading them my script. It's great. They're like nodding along. They're like, oh, right, okay. Oh, yeah.
Never mind me. I'm just going in here, up the roof, no problem. Bye bye.
in a somewhat metaphorically ironic sense, they were armed police, but the way you interacted with them disarmed them. Yeah, because the one guy you were talking to, he seemed a bit sort of bemused that you were talking so directly to him and explaining yourself. He's like, who's this guy?
Well, because they see somebody wearing like a GoPro on their chest and they automatically assume that it's an order to come to have a go at them, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what they saw. They saw that and they were like, oh my God, here we go. And the guy who actually spoke to, the guy who came forward, yeah, he was a bit sort of bemused and a bit sort of blinky eyed. The guy, you can't really see it too well in the video, but the guy who stays back, he's looking very concerned, like very stern. But then once I start reading out the script and I go, oh, is that okay? Oh, thank you very much. He suddenly brightens up and they're like, yeah, CCTV cameras do give away security secrets. Oops.
Yeah.
Who knows, right? Maybe the world wouldn't have turned out like 1984 and they would never like conceal cameras and telescreens before I came along and reminded them that that's the best thing that they could possibly do. You know?
Well, I would point out that street banner that you walk past, it might not necessarily have a camera in it, but it would probably have other sensing devices in it, such as a microphone. The billboard banner. Yeah, and the 5G receptors and stuff like that. The street furniture is now being deliberately placed, including that kind of.
Cameras, right?
Oh, it has cameras in it.
I think so. In the top, and the top bar, there might be cameras.
Yeah.
Me and Mr. Borked were investigating this very object earlier on today.
Yeah.
And I can't even remember what it was that we found out. That's why Mr. Borked exists, so he can remind me of the amazing things that I discovered.
Yeah, so Global are the ones you got to watch out for because they're British based. The French company JC Dieu and Clear Channel are American, so they don't really mess around with these things in this country. But they definitely have biometric capabilities. They're trying to identify roughly target audiences, footfall, how many eyes get on a specific board at a specific place. But the interesting thing about all of these ones specifically is they're built on the sites where BT phone boxes used to be, because they've got a data connection straight away, so that the existing infrastructure gets plugged into these. They've got a gig up, gig down link, and they're watching. Now, they can't necessarily capture your identity, but what they can do is capture your biometrics. So they know the distance between your eyes and your gait and all of these things. They know your skin color. They can work out whether you're male or female to a high degree of accuracy. And they can change the advertising profiles based on the demographic of people walking by. Yeah. So if they know something's in a relatively affluent area, they'll prioritize advertising for that profile. Yeah.
But that is just the excuse for them to collect the data. Them claiming that it's for advertising. That it's for targeted
advertising.
No, like I think there's two aspects to it. From the advertising point of view, it's incredibly valuable data. If you're an advertiser, you'd want that data. Now, what you do with that data and who you sell it to and how they process it, it's a different thing. But there's no evidence directly that that's what's happening, but these data sets are incredibly valuable. So if you're running a business, I'm sure you'd sell it to the highest bidder. It's just how they work.
Yeah.
And also the recently passed Data Access Act, what it's called, Use and Access Act, basically says that any company who has any kind of data at all, including CCTV or whatever, can automatically has to be given to the government when the government ask. But it used to be the case that the person who owned the data, say for example, Sainsbury's or something is capturing biometric data, they would see that when the government came to them and say, "Oh, you've got all this data on all of these people, could we please have it?" Sainsbury's would have to then go and try and balance civil liberties against the government needing it for law enforcement, and they would be able to make a decision, and the government wouldn't be able to go against it. So if they said no, civil liberties says it's just sort of overreach for you to have this data, so I'm sorry, you can't have it. Well, now the Data Act basically says that whenever the government asks you, you have to assume that they have a legitimate purpose, and you have to trust them automatically. So it doesn't really matter who this data belongs to anymore. In fact, it's
normally
good for
you
the
sign
government.
off on some kind of a form of consent, right? But with these billboards, there's no consent at
It's
all,
implied.
right?
It's like implied right of access to your front door.
Well, somebody has to
an
give
implied
the
right
consent,
because
it's the
but
government.
you're in a public environment, right? So it's the same as any filming. There's an implied lack of privacy in a public area, so they can
It's being
data
sold
collect as
off
much as
that kind of privacy, right?
Yeah. Well,
So the
technically,
city
it
of
never
London
really existed.
will be getting money out of this as well by allowing this.
Oh yeah, but
Sure.
it's a bit of one of those sort of ongoing situations that's only been more recently exploited simply because of the available technology. But the technical reality of it is public spaces were never any level of privacy. You never had any legal or lawful privacy if you're moving around in a public area. Yeah? So all they've done is moved into those areas and installed their version of telescreens so that, as described, they can just soak up as much data as they can possibly get. And I think I don't find
gold.
it.
You are the new gold, right? They're milking you for the data, so you're like a
I
cow.
know. It's easy to say there is no proof in the sense of you can't find a paper trail. There is no documentation to prove that they're doing X, Y, Z with this stuff. But I'm quite happy to be called a conspiracy theorist. I don't have a problem with that label. I take it as a badge of honor that I actually ask questions and consider possibilities. Yeah. But to me, it's no coincidence that they brought in things like the Online Safety Act not long after they introduced that other legislation, because that then enables them to force all VPNs to hand over data whenever requested. So then they allowed everybody to go out and buy themselves a VPN or pay for a VPN service because of the Online Safety Act, knowing full well that now it means if they want to know what you've been surfing online, all they have to do is contact that service and say, give us all the data on so-and-so person, please. And that person, by that legislation or that VPN service, has to hand over that data because it's the government.
Well, the government doesn't like to pay for that stuff,
No,
right?
they
So
get
because
third
you
parties.
can't get it through the front door or through the back door like the government likes to do. They don't like to go through the back door.
You've got to remember with VPNs is they have no jurisdiction over foreign VPN operators. So somebody like Mulvad has no obligation to provide anything, and in fact, they just give them the middle finger and say we don't keep logs. And they're probably one of the most trustworthy ones. Their audits have shown that they're pretty good, and the cases that they've been involved with where they've not been able to provide anything is pretty good evidence. So it's a strange one, but still, the problem with VPNs, no different to your home internet connection, is you've got to trust the endpoint. Now, you can't trust your endpoint with your home connection, so you're just going to pay a foreign business to provide that endpoint for you, which you've got even less control over in a jurisdiction that you don't know what the regulations are for that country. But what will happen is they'll tighten up everywhere. This isn't just a UK thing. This is happening all over the world. The net will become much, much tighter over the next 5 years, where most Western nations it'll be there'll be similar laws in place where you just won't be able to escape.
Paul, can I ask you a question? I've got a decentralized VPN. So am I safer?
It depends. I'm a big proponent of decentralization. I have been my entire life, but without knowing the what it is and the technical side of it, I wouldn't be able to give you an answer on that. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's part of the deeper network that do mining, but they're a decentralized cryptocurrency originally. And
the thing to always remember is it's the endpoint that's always vulnerable.
Right.
And if you've got no control over the endpoint, and that's not to say you have at the moment, if you're just on your regular internet connection, you absolutely haven't. You know, your ISP controls that. Right. It's no different to if it's somebody else's IP in a different part of the world. Now, obviously, there's some places where the laws are a lot more lax and there's a lot less control over those kind of things, which is great. But it's very difficult to guarantee.
Right.
Virtually impossible.
Okay.
Best thing is be careful what you do on the internet.
Yeah.
Just be aware, right?
Yeah. Data hygiene.
Quick hello to the latecomers. Fizz. I'm glad you found it. And Steve, hello. Good evening, Steve. And I'm sure I saw Roscoe in the chat earlier as well. Good evening, Roscoe. So hopefully we caught up and said hello to everyone.
I didn't realise, Cookie, that you, me, and Sam have inadvertently sort of been in the same room or same destination when we all attended Bilderberg in 2013.
Yeah.
And
in the Schilderberg.
The Schilderberg. And I specifically
freedom of speech FEMA camp.
Yeah, I remember you, Sam, on the megaphone. I can remember standing behind you and you abusing all the attendees as they came in.
I wasn't abusing them. I was educating them about private mercenary security.
But it's interesting because I'd like to say I thought you were a bit more humorous. Yeah, you're much more serious now. Is that an age thing, Sam?
I think it's just I think that I think possibly the videos that I first started making when I first came back were maybe a little bit too scripted and too formulaic. Like I was literally working out everything, whereas like the old ones, they were pretty much like on the fly. And then the one thing I've always been quite good at, I mean, as a tour guide for like 8 years, so I'm good at improvisation. And I you know, if someone puts me on the spot, I actually really like it. You know, I kind of prosper in that scenario. Yeah. And I realize that now, and certainly the next videos, I'm trying to not plan them as much, you know, to make sure there's some spontaneity and the ability for me to crack a joke or two.
Yeah.
Well, can I roll it right back? And I know you've mentioned this before at some point or another in some of your videos, but can I ask you, like, I know you went to university. I know you studied for a higher level degree. You got a Bachelor of Arts, I think, yeah?
Yeah.
I was just curious, like, how did you feel about your university experience and doing that degree? And did you experience any of the kind of political indoctrination that often permeates through academia?
I didn't find, not really. I mean, when I was at university, obviously they, because an art degree is slightly different. It's not academic, but still they try to, you know, they teach you about certain artists and all that kind of stuff. And they try and force you to actually emulate artists rather than coming up with your own stuff. And that was always totally alien to me. Like I was always of like, if I look at an artist, that's what I'm not going to do. And I was always like, really militant about forging my own path. And because obviously you had to, when you had like a one-to-one tutoring session or critique or whatever, you know, you had to act like you were taking it really seriously and nod along. But really, once they were walking away, I'd be like, oh, thank God, I can just get on with my shit now. Thank God. I didn't have any. Oh, well, actually, I did find out quite recently there's a book called Ways of Seeing by John Berger. And I can remember that book actually being quite influential to me. But consequently, I found out it's basically just communist propaganda, which I thought about making a video about that. But I didn't get any like political indoctrination, I don't think, properly, especially left wing, until I moved to London and started to learn more about politics and got into the whole. I mean, I worked for Friends of the Earth and Greenpeace and stuff like that, and they were highly indoctrinated me to the point where my brain escaped out of it, you know, where they do it so much, and you have these questions, and then they shut down your questions, and you're like, why would they shut down that question? Why are these people not critically thinking? Why can't you bring a different piece of evidence to them and say, well, what about this? They just go, no. So yeah, definitely. And I was amongst lots of other people who were very left wing, and they were, you know, they would openly say they were trying to radicalize me into like the left wing protest movement. But yeah,
that's what I'm curious about. A lot of the academic environment, even if you're studying something like art, you know, it just seems there is an expectation that because you're doing higher level education, you're somehow automatically on the left of the political spectrum, even though I'll happily, you know, debunk the concept of the left-right spectrum, yeah. But it just seems that a lot of the universities are very sort of politically driven that direction for some reason.
Left meant something different 20 years ago as well, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely. I mean, I was in
the
university.
right is now the new left,
9/11.
I would say, like, because the left has shifted so far to the radical side, like it's unreal. Like nothing is based in reality anymore. Like, so yeah. No,
go on, Sam. What was you going to say?
Yeah, I was in university sort of 1999, year 2000, 2001. And it was very different politically back then, wasn't it? It was cool to be scared of Arabs back then, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas now it's illegal.
Did you, while you were hanging around with Greenpeace and groups like that, did you experience the Occupy movement and the what was it called? The something library that was set up in London?
I don't know about that.
I can't remember. It's called something like the Freedom Library. It was part of the Occupy movement, but it was just interesting to watch how that initial energy got appropriated by the system, if they didn't create it in the first place, which I think they probably did, but how they then systematically sort of split it up into groups that argued with each other about how they should deal with the political shit, you know? It's a good
shaky hands, or was it called the jazz hands technique or whatever?
Yes, Delphi, the Delphi technique.
Societal dreaming exercises right outside St Paul's Cathedral during Occupy London.
Yeah.
And you remember, commonly known as Dom, he was the one who turned me onto the idea of like the Tavistock Institute being involved and all these like weird psychologists coming in and programming people, essentially putting them on
good
courses.
Place to start.
Yeah. That was a stepping stone, definitely.
Yeah, but look how it is now, man. Like UCL
on steroids.
UCL is just a communist training camp. Like literally, it's a communist training camp. It's really scary.
Yeah,
they've definitely pushed the polarization to an extreme as much as they can. You know, if you think you're on the right, they try and convince you that automatically means you're far right, neo-Nazi extremist. And if you say you're on the left, then that means you're automatically a ravening Stalinist communist. You know, you're not allowed to be somewhat moderate or centrist. They want you to pick an extreme side and fight with the other side. You know?
Yeah, just like when you go on X, man. I have an X account so I can share my videos, but I try really not to go on X because it's a horrible place of radicalization, isn't it? They will push you an extreme, and show you all sorts of. I mean, never mind the fact that X is just like 99% AI slop. That people, you know, oh, I saw this in the sky as plasma coming out of it. It's definitely a UFO and not created by like VO3.
Yeah.
It's really scary how many people don't realize that AI just makes videos that looks real now, and you just literally cannot trust anything. And if you see any kind of weird video that's getting tons and tons of views about something that's happened in the world, it's either something that's happened 10 years ago and someone's pretending it's happened now, or it happened in a different country and they're pretending it happened here, or it's just total AI slop. And like there was one the other day, like where it's like this church congregation and this woman is speaking in tongues and then she like runs up the wall. And if you look up on the comments, everyone's like, you know, hallelujah, amen. This is the coming of the end times is here, all that kind of stuff. And that's what's happening, right? People are being pushed into these radical places, and seemingly they have no critical thinking skills. Although it could be, of course, that they're all bots. You know, could be.
Possibly, I think there is a truly astounding number of bots, not just on X, but on all of these social media platforms, including YouTube. It's one thing I like about the fact that we've managed to keep these broadcasts going for more than 10 years now. So I know that the regular listeners we get turning up are genuinely real people. They're not bots. I can guarantee you that there's a real person behind each account. Oh, hello, Ionic Arc.
Ionic Arc. Yeah, a lot of it is AI crap, and that's the sad part, right? We now have God knows how much compute, right? What they are demanding and energy they are putting in this shit. We're not getting a cancer cure. We're getting AI slop. We're not getting any solutions like to any physics problem or anti-gravity shit.
They could.
None of it.
A eugenicist
AI
could
shit.
argue
That's what we get.
that is what we're getting, because the AI slop is going to keep us occupied until we die from the cancer that they've given us.
Well,
so then they don't have to cure the cancer.
They have the cure, probably. Right.
Hello,
they don't need AI for that.
And hello, Tactical Gnome.
Don't
Thanks
eat their shit.
Hello, David.
Hey, mate.
I think I saw Nitsud in there earlier as well. Hello, Nitsud. Dustin. Yeah.
Well, so I kind of want to wind the clock back a little bit to 2018-ish.
Right. Okay.
Where you were pointing out a DNA database that they were building. And look at the world now in 2025 after COVID. Now, you kind of disappeared during COVID and we missed you during COVID. I don't know if you want to give a reason or what happened, why you disappeared for so long. So long.
Well, I mean, the one thing, I mean, I made some mistakes back then. One of the big mistakes I made was not monetizing my YouTube channel. So I was absolutely poverty stricken. Literally all of those early years, I literally had no money at all. Being a tour guide was total crap money. And when COVID hit and like the whole tourist industry basically shut down, I was just basically penniless. And there was like a couple of people who said that they would help me out financially, and then they didn't. And I was in a position of like, what can I do? I just hope for the best, that somehow it works out. And I'm not that sort of person. So the moment I realized that if I don't do something, I'm going to be homeless, I realized I needed to get another job. And the only job I could find was out of London. And it turned out to be a very stressful kind of job that really was very consuming. I won't tell anybody what it was. It was a really boring job, like an office job sort of thing, but very consuming. And then got promoted and actually started to make some decent money, which was a total different.
You got sucked into the matrix. Oh my god!
Yeah, well, basically just because I had no money, and I never meant to be away for 6 years. I always thought that, you know, I would be back. I'd make another video, and then as time went on, it sort of just got more and more awkward. And I was thinking, well, if I go back now, this is going to be really awkward. And it just sort of happened. And I got to the point where I'd done so well sorting out my finances and saving up some money that I basically just realized that if I didn't work for a year and just tried to make YouTube work, that I could do it now. So that's what I'm doing. I'm sort of doing a social experiment on myself, slowly watching my bank account drop towards zero again. I hope that
Okay, then,
YouTube
let me
can
open it up.
financially support me.
Mhm.
So yeah, let's see how it
Well, I
goes.
would remind people, if they want to help you out, if they feel they can, then you do have a Patreon. I
Yep,
put the
I do
link
have
in
it
the
here.
chat earlier for your YouTube channel. Yeah, Pete's got there you go, the
I'll share the
Patreon
link.
Yeah, put that in. So if people want to help you by supporting what you're doing, there you go. People
Because
can
it's
sign up.
value for value. You
Yes,
truly get
absolutely. Yeah.
true value, and I think it's worth something. I've been
Yeah, I think you've been
supporter,
one of the
so
best UK content creators for these kind of subjects for many years. So,
yeah.
you do as good a job
And
as
we're very
others
critical, so
who work with groups like UK Column. They're working with a whole group that got multiple sources of donation money coming in and whatever, but you just got on with it on your own.
Yeah, can I, Sam?
well,
can
on
I-
purpose, right? Because
Didn't you work with Brian Garish at one point? Didn't you?
You had an
Well,
interaction with them.
I mean, do
didn't
you
you?
want to do the story? I don't want to be mean about them.
No, no.
But,
It's up to you.
Say what you want to say. It's up to you.
when I was young, my family moved us down to Devon, and I lived after I left home, because I left home really early. Let's not get into that story. I lived in a small flat with my brother, and the guy upstairs that used to sell us drugs was turns out to be I just mean weed. Turned out to be the boyfriend of the lady, I won't name her, but the lady who worked for the UK column back then. So I knew her, and then she introduced me at Bilderberg. She introduced me to Brian, and they were very interested. Turns out they'd watched my videos.
I thought they were trying to poach you. They wanted to recruit you.
They kind of were, yeah. But I mean, I didn't want to move down to Plymouth. But yeah. So I mean, I went on their show. I went on Patrick Henningson's show as well. But then the time came when I don't know if we want this story, but the long and short of it is that they decided that they didn't like me anymore because I was critical about them. Like, because the thing that I do with my videos, I try to anyway, is I just try to give people the absolute most brutal, transparent truth. And I don't want to be audience led. I don't want to censor myself just because I think it's going to upset the audience or upset anybody. I'll just say it how it is. And if it upsets people, then it's because they were not taking things seriously or not really realizing what reality actually was. So they had a conference about the English Constitution down in Winchester. And I went down there, made a video about it. But because I was sort of fairly critical about it, they decided that I'd been attacking them. And Brian was extremely upset and was sort of questioning whether or not I was actually some kind of undercover police officer all the time, trying to destroy them.
I know
he
doesn't cope very well with internal criticism, does he? He's I don't know how to describe it. It's that kind of if you had confidence in what you were doing, you wouldn't be so concerned about people critiquing what you're doing. But the fact that he was always so sensitive, I mean, even now they've changed some of the regular people that they have presenting the stuff, and that's made me wonder, like, well, where's so and so gone that they used to have on regular, and they don't bring them on anymore. So I think it's
although I don't bear a grudge. I've always believed although I'm not a Christian, I was brought up as a Christian, obviously, but I have that sort of feeling that everybody deserves to be forgiven no matter what they've done. And the best way to actually de-escalate a situation is just have immediate forgiveness. Like if somebody pushes you out the way, waiting for a tube train and it's really busy and you might not get on, and somebody pushes you out the way and then you can't get on the train. I mean, the best thing for your own mental health is just immediately to forgive them and go, look, they've got an anger problem and it's sort of, they're out of control. They're not in control of their own actions. And you sort of go, well, just, that's cool. They really wanted to get on the train and forget about it. Rather than what most people I think would do is get instantly angry and try and lay hands on them and shout at them, swear at them, and stress themselves out, stress out the entire carriage, and it's just not worth it.
Road
It's better
rage.
just to go, I'm gonna just let you get away with it because it's better for them. You've got to always think, if this person is in a position where they're carrying this anger about, they do actually need your help. They need somebody to forgive them.
Yes.
I'm not going to say
I
like you
agree.
can forgive everything. For
No,
example,
I
like
agree.
Manchester
Yeah,
bombing or something. I'm not going to forgive that. You know what I mean? But yeah,
general kind of minor infractions that many people now get automatically overly sensitive about. Yeah, you should be able to just forget about them and move on.
but I think the UK column have always done excellent work, and I think they're still doing excellent work.
I agree. Yeah, I just, as I've said, I think Brian Gerrish is a bit overly controlling over the whole setup when he doesn't need to be. There's a lot of good people that work through the UK column, But I think he's maybe because of his military background, I can understand where he's maybe overly sensitive in a what would be called a security operation level, He's looking at it from the equivalent of having secure comms and stuff like that. Yeah.
Got a question here. The cinematography is outstanding. Does he do his own music? That was my question too. If so, I get the feeling he's classically trained. Well, you kind of answered that question because you had your arts training.
You hear the fireworks in the background.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
I'm really sorry, everybody. I mean,
No,
when you
it's
live in
fine.
London, it's Diwali. It's just like fireworks for like 2 weeks straight every night, even if it's pouring down with rain.
It's a celebration that you actually joined in a group conversation.
You're no longer in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's actually people. Actually, no, I was going to say something really edgy then, and I realized I probably shouldn't. Anyway,
Borked.
Anyway,
Borked.
the question about the music. Do I make my own music?
Yeah, the music pick you have, like with the xylophone and the bells and tubular bells thing.
I mean, I
very
make it. I would
unique.
say that what I tend to do is find very familiar classical music and just destroy it.
Or Vangelis Blade Runner. I've also heard you use some Pink Floyd.
Yeah, Radiohead.
Yeah, I just download free MIDIs.
I said it was MIDI files.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's always because, like, I guess I'm a bit of a I'm not a boomer, but I've got a boomer idea about video making, which is like there should always be music.
Music is important.
Yeah, so and also back in the days of earlier in the days of YouTube, there was a big problem with music because you couldn't use anything, otherwise your video got taken down or you got strikes, just for using copyrighted music or whatever. So it was just a way for me to make music that wasn't copyrighted. So I'd get like, I mean, a lot of the time classical music is not copyrighted anyway, but if you were to use something that was copyrighted, all you have to do is, artistically change it, put some effort into it. So I'd, sometimes transpose it or change it from major to minor, change the tempo, change all the instruments, and then chop it up a bit. Maybe a lot of the time I chop it up so it doesn't necessarily, immediately sound like what you think it sounds like. But yeah, that's what I've always done. But I mean, I do have some musical talent in me, but it was kind of spoilt, I have to say, by my parents trying to force me to play the violin when I was very young. And then when I kind of rebelled against that,
could be the flute, could be worse.
Yeah, when I rebelled against that, they tried to get me to play the piano. And I kind of rebelled against that, and then my ultimate rebellion was when I was 13 and decided to get an electric guitar. And then I was in bands, and I was really, really good at the electric guitar when I was like 18, 19, 20, 21.
Cool.
I used to be into like, Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, that sort of stuff. My guitar teacher was
you're right at home here again. Like most of us here are musicians or drummers, bassists, singers. Yeah.
My guitar teacher, or at least the last guitar teacher I had, was very much like a 4-finger electric guitar teacher, if you know what I mean. So he was like, you always got to use all 4 fingers. So all the scales and all the exercise and stuff were all to do with exercising your hands and making the span bigger and that sort of thing. But yeah, but in terms of, it doesn't really help me with midis or whatever, but it sort of helps if you have a little bit of a musician's ear, right?
Yes, definitely. And I think it does come along with that kind of artistic creativity as well. Even though I think you're more visually orientated, aren't you? But having that creative ability leaches into all areas of your life, including the audio, the music side as well. Yeah, Mr.
I agree.
Smith is a
Drummer.
yeah, very competent musician. Not just a drummer. Drums are his main thing. But
No,
he'll
he's
play
all
pretty
around.
much.
Yeah, and sing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
If you
all
check
around.
his channel out, he's got some fantastic tunes. Some of them are his own
And
original
Steve.
tune. Yeah, and Steve Tagoose as well. Yeah, another fantastic musician. And we've got another one, Days. I don't think he's in the chat yet at the moment. He might.
Probably
Can I just say? Can I just say? Breaking news: 33 people are watching.
There we go. We got the 33. So the 33 has crept in somehow, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that would be an interesting way of segueing into one of my other questions. Now, I know you've mentioned some of the kind of political stuff, but I feel what I've gained a lot from your videos, your content that you've made over the years, is not just the political observation. I mean, there's various layers to it, because I want to ask you a more in-depth, somewhat academic question in a bit, maybe later when we get into the second hour. But for this point, what is there about the level of the, let's call it the social aspects that are in the shadows? So things like the secret societies, or even just the layers of bureaucracy that are behind the political face. You know, the parliament is a political face for the public, but the bureaucracy that runs the country is in the offices behind that, you know. But I'd also ask, like, in the sense of how far into that shadow world does your interest take you? I know you like to point out some of the older architectural symbolism and things like that, but are you doing that from a comprehension of where that symbolism comes from originally, the secret societies, etc.?
Well, I mean, I try to.
Yeah, I think you do a good job of it, and that's why I'm trying to pick your brains in that sense.
I would say that the thing that really enlightened me in terms of how pervasive, like, men's societies have been, was, you know, training to, well, not just training, but sort of, it's a self-led training when you're a tour guide, you know. But the royal history, you know, once you start to really learn not just about the well-known ones like Queen Victoria or Elizabeth I or whatever, but actually all of the other ones in between, and their relationships and what happened and all of that kind of stuff, and where they came from and all that kind of stuff, you start to realize that this whole scam that they've been running on society is not new. You know, it's been going through an extreme amount of time, and it's never really changed. I mean, the one thing that these secret societies, no matter who they were doing, was, of course, you know, trying to create order out of chaos, trying to find some way to manipulate the world into a functional state. And they did that, of course, like in the medieval period, by spreading sheriffs, mayors, all of the things that we sort of rely on in terms of the successful structure of our country, were essentially all created behind closed doors in sort of like early forms of think tank about how they could get a better hold over society, how they could better control more land and keep hold of it, and then form a machine that could then, you know, protect them from outside forces or whatever. So I think it's that really. That's what led me into it, is to kind of go, wow, this conspiracy has really been going on for an extreme length of time.
Yeah, about 1,500 years at least, I think.
Well, it depends. It depends really.
Yeah,
in terms of like a consistent group, if you like, I would say it's like definitely since the Norman invasion. Although, of course, when the Normans invaded, there was already a sort of group here.
Yeah,
Who
the
have never left.
Anglo-Saxons were quite.
But the city of London, basically.
Yeah, Londinium.
Yeah. But I mean, secret societies are the way the world has always worked. We have secret societies today. They're just in WhatsApp groups, or whatever. Heads of corporations or whatever, talking to one another, encrypted. So, they can usurp any kind of law about insider trading. Super easy peasy for them, really.
Can you remind me where the Soho telephone exchange is?
Is that a joke or is that real?
Both.
No, I'm just poking some fun.
Okay, good. Yeah. You have to watch the video.
Well, or the American embassy for that matter.
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? It's very odd. And also still subject to the
how many 33s have you found so far? Is there a
there's
33 of them at least, or more?
It's 33.
There's a lot of odd. I should make a video which details all of the oddest 33s. But I mean, that whole 33 thing and the deep level secret in air quotes tunnels is
secret, not a secret. Yeah,
a symptom of how they used to be very open and proud about, how harmonious they were creating things. In terms of like the Freemasonic great work, creating things that are like not functional and beautiful at the same time. They used to boast about it. As a lot of people used to say as well, back in the early days,
everybody will join the club, right?
Well, it was openly promoted back at the end of the 1800s, towards the end of the Victorian age. The Masons were publicly promoting themselves and inviting new members to come and join because they were portraying themselves in that way. We have helped bring order to the chaos. We have helped build the British Empire. Yeah? You just look at, we was talking the other night about different movies that we've seen over the years and how they've had some kind of influence for us in some manner, yeah? And one of the ones I often mention is The Man Who Would Be King, which is a Rudyard Kipling tale. And it's literally about Masons working together to try and take over a small third world country. And that's just an example of how that kind of Masonic order of brothers of the craft would help each other to achieve something like dominating a bunch of villagers and basically taking their stuff off them, But that was portrayed as, we're bringing civilization to the primitive people, we must be good guys.
Well, you could say it's the same with the Knights Templar and all that, right?
Yes.
They were fairly overt.
Yes, they were definitely,
and aren't we in a crusade right now?
Well, that's the thing, right? If you go to some of these places that celebrate the connection to the Knights Templar and all that kind of stuff, it's sort of like very proudly asserting that the patriarchy is a beneficial thing for the world, right? Which nowadays, especially if you went to your local university and told them that, they'd be like, "No, patriarchy is evil." But of course, we can't forget that no matter how we think about all of these people who are in control and all of that kind of stuff, and now how the left wing think about the patriarchy, they certainly got a lot done, didn't they?
Yes,
they really did get a lot done.
I think there is it's a very long and ongoing discussion, but I'm glad to say that after what's been probably nearly 2 decades of them pushing us into this deliberately created chaos, which was meant to bring out the leftism to use as that threat to drive people to the right. They've deliberately created this crazy left-leaning political chaos so that people will be more willing to accept a very right-leaning fascistic environment. But I think we're getting to the stage where a lot more people have just seen through it now. It's thanks to like the use of the internet and people like yourself, like ourselves, like others who talk about these subjects openly and don't run away from them. You don't pretend that, you're not supposed to talk about that stuff. No, we talk about this stuff, and I think a lot more people are aware of it now, and they're getting back to that realization And I'll use a phrase that I know many people who are inculcated into that kind of ideology will have a problem with, but there is a natural order which often can be misinterpreted as patriarchy, but it's not really patriarchy because it takes two. It takes the male and the female working in unison to bring true order and civilized society, as some people would like to say it. Yeah? But it's been badly portrayed through history, through this, claim of the domination of the male over the female and blah, blah, blah.
EU is dominated by females.
Yeah, it's something that is, I want to say it's a modern occurrence, but when I say modern, I'm not talking about just 10 years. I'm talking several hundred years since, like you mentioned, the medieval time. We've had this slow progression of this dominating psychopathic control system that is fixated on the use of force in one guise or another. So it's become what they deride as the patriarchy. And we didn't make it a patriarchy. It's been forced upon us.
Yeah.
I would
Well,
argue.
another question I got. Since you've been gone, six years.
It's been 6 years.
Yeah, it has been 6 years.
was 6
Amazing,
years,
isn't it? How fast the fucking COVID time went, because it was 5 years for the COVID.
Yeah. I spend
It's
that
like,
much time.
if you think about it, it's like, Matt, no, okay, but we're getting old, I guess. But but back then it was already a bit like, oh, you have to be careful about what you talk about, what you expose. You have to be, you don't want to. You want to say stuff, but you don't want to say too much stuff. You don't want to get a knock on the door or whatever, right? But right now we're living in a UK where there's 1,200 arrests for fucking tweets. Quite innocent tweets, Yeah, well, some of them aren't, but you
It's
could
kind of
handle it.
ironic as
You
well.
could handle it with a reprimand or whatever the fuck. But so we live in a different time now. Yeah. Do you feel like you have to change your content or how you speak, or are you self-censoring? Is that?
I think I've always.
Are you afraid of the knock on the
YouTube.
door?
I am a little bit scared about the knock on the door. Yeah,
Because they must take notice of you, right? They know
I'm
your
not scared about the
content.
knock on the door though, because I've said something that's like perceived as a hate crime. I'm concerned about a knock on the door because all of these deep tunnel stuff I'm talking about is subject to the Official Secrets Act.
Yes. Well, yeah, you're on the money with all that. Because if you wind back, like I've been watching your catalog, like because of researching, and you have been on the money. Like in 2018, like you've been talking about that database, and then COVID happened, and that was obviously a data or a DNA data collection
experiment
orgy. I would say, like, no, it was crazy. They went crazy, right? How they
but also they were terrible
swapped
at it.
everybody, and
They're also terrible at it.
yeah,
the
but
whole
all that
COVID thing,
data
although-
eventually a lot of it landed in Dubai. All that data.
Do you not
and-
think the incompetence was deliberate to make the public request a better version?
I really
Problem,
don't think
reaction,
so.
solution, that kind of principle.
Well, they're still standing in
think-
line for that shit. So
I think it's something to do with the population explosion that we've had over the last 20 years or something. That it just makes it so much more difficult for them to deal with the amount of chaos. I mean, they are obviously creating chaos on purpose.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
it's almost like a little bit of biting off more than you can chew or whatever. In that we do. I mean, they show their weakness on a daily basis.
I'm guessing you've heard of the Excalibre plan.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, I openly talk about this stuff because, as far as I'm concerned, this is the truth. This is reality. So you shouldn't avoid speaking about the truth. Yeah, but I think this has absolutely been done deliberately on purpose for nearly 2 decades now, since the late 90s, since Tony Blair, Tony B. Blair, he started this process. And this is absolutely an application of the Excalibre plan to destabilize our country. In the little video montage that Pete put together, he used a clip from one of your recent videos where you're talking about the crime being allowed, even encouraged. Yeah, that's part of the Excalibre principle.
Yeah.
to destabilize the country so that people cry out for a stronger government.
I mean,
We
people
need a
call it
strong man in power. You know?
people call it a problem reaction solution or whatever, but really it's just game theory.
Yeah, Hegelian dialectic game theory.
When it comes to like digital ID and stuff like that, they really have they did their foundational game theory extremely well. They've put the whole society in a position where we cannot actually argue against it. I mean, we can argue against it, and people do argue against it. But what they've done is they've looked at what you would say what a traditional sort of English family, how they would like the country, and then they go, well, how do we get these people to like really want biometric scanning, you know, tracking? Sorry, how do we get these ordinary people that don't give a shit about politics to actually like send a letter to the parliament begging for biometric tracking? It's like, how about flood their country with people who could be like, you know, combatants from like the most hostile countries that England knows, and just have them live next door, you know, or something, you know, have them just roving around, accidentally looking through your garden shed, and all of a sudden you've got these sort of, you know, strange aliens, for want of a better description, everywhere you look, in all the places that you found familiar, all of the places where you grew up and have some kind of, you know, romanticized attachment to, are now just trash, bodies lying around in the street. You know, it's terrifying. Even myself, who's always, you know, I flirted with the whole freedom on the land stuff for a long time back in the day, which obviously is all about how, like, even my own birth certificate is something that I don't want associated with me because I'm just a man. And then you go, well, look who else is just a man. It's like half the population of North Africa. They're just men as well.
What is a man?
Yeah.
We're at that stage right now.
Yeah.
But
So, they've really engineered us very, very well this time.
So, I mean, Lobson has put in the chat the applied psychology, which we saw a lot of during the COVID with the SAGE team, who were deliberately using psyops against us. And I remember pointing this out at the time. They were applying military grade psychological operations on their own population.
It was NATO, literally. So yeah.
But you could also describe it as that's the kind of psychological deracination, you know, to put it in a kind of technical phrase. But they purposefully are setting the situation up very much like Orwell described it, where you're not going to have a past. You're not going to have a heritage. There will be no cultural norms that you are used to expecting other than what is presented to you by the party. The only knowledge of history or heritage that you will have is the existence of the party being in power. Yeah, so this to me is again that like Kalergi plan element of they're deliberately allowing the degradation of the indigenous culture by importing foreign cultures. And I'm not saying this to be derogatory to anyone else's culture. I love experiencing other people's culture, but it should be on a level playing field. I should not be told that I'm racist because I want to do something I'm culturally normalized to accept as being part of my heritage, like fish and chips. Yeah, if they start telling me, "Oh no, you got to have a chicken biryani, mate. You're not allowed to have fish and chips. That's racist. Fish and chips is racist."
Wait, are you Jewish? Fish and chips is Jewish, man.
Are you?
Yeah.
Never. Fish and chips is invented by Jews in the East End.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right, and bacon sandwich. Although we could say that was invented by bananas.
And shawarma. They did shawarma as well. That's a funny one as well.
Shawarma, yeah.
They made shawarma popular here in Europe.
Yeah. Do we want to play some music?
Yeah, we do.
Or,
I need a tune. Then we can go for a little pee-pee break.
Yeah, buy a break. And we'll give
or smoke
audience,
or whatever.
Yeah, give the audience a chance to get themselves a fresh drink or whatever they want to do. For 5 minutes. Have you got a tune? Because I haven't got anything lined up.
I haven't got any. I was asking Rob already, and he's... I don't know if he's paying attention to the chat, but... Rob?
I was just trying to.
Do you have a non-offensive tune?
Yeah, I was just trying to. I was trying to find one.
Angry.
Yeah, I was trying to find one from one of our.
Make Angry North do something.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
what I thought actually. Angry North
Yeah,
or
that'd
something.
be a good one.
Let me just
He's
try
another
and
good
find one.
musician we know who turns up regular. Puts out
Yeah, I'm
good
sure
music.
you'll like him. Yeah.
I haven't got anything immediately to hand. I could find something.
No, I don't have a Angry North in my file right now.
I do have one.
Ooh.
There you go. This is appropriate because this
That's
is
a
a
good one.
major subject matter that we're often talking about, and is certainly relevant to a lot of the subjects we've been talking about tonight.
Thanks, Rob.
I found that one. You ready? This is from Mr. Angry North and Boris's Bitches. We'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Yay.
Here's a song for all the normaltons out there who still don't see what's going on, or just can't admit that they've been so wrong for so long. Play it for one. Well, you can call me any kind of theorist that you like. You can diss me with a vague old lazy second-hand soundbite. And I know it makes no difference, the strength of evidence eyesight. 'Cause if you're not a liar, you're willfully blind and your head's not right. To stare into a hole in the ground, you only need eyesight. And when you're buried 6 feet down, you've no use for hindsight. They're building your future for you, one I know you won't like. They're doing it in plain view and in broad daylight. I know corruption and conspiracies, they don't exist in the world that you see. But just how open do you need things to be? Totalitarianism, that's what's bothering me. Could I put it more plainly? How can you still not see? Authoritarianism intensifying so rapidly, and ever faster we slide while you stay on the wrong side of history. Get down! Well, you read all those media lies and you believe they're all true. And you feel that you're far too wise for them to all be fooling you. And of the plans your rulers openly share, you're unaware, you've no clue. You think that those who only work to abuse you work for you. You won't apply any critical eye to anything that they do. You never wonder where the benefits lie. You never add 2 plus 2. There's no end to what you'll suffer, no line in the sand for you. You don't care when any others are cancelled and banned. Will you care when it's you? Seems that there's no limits to the oppression you always continue to defend. Well, it might not be pleasant how this will end. Totalitarianism, that's what's irking me. And it's screaming in your smirking face, but you say that you don't hear or see. Authoritarianism coming down so brazenly. Top-down total control of global society. In your digital prison, you won't defy or disagree. When compliance and submission are the only currency, the only currency. Just saying.
Swilliamism.
He's helping us all see
Yeah.
this crazy vision of totalitarianism. Yeah, that was totalitarianism from Angry North. Check out his channel. He's on YouTube and on Rumble, and I think he's still on Odyssey as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'll find him easier.
And he promised me he's working on new stuff. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's on SoundCloud as well.
There's so much happening right now.
Better quality audio. Go and check out his stuff on SoundCloud, and you can download his tracks from there, buy his tracks from there. Yes, that's maybe a good point to ask as well. Somebody asked in the chat, in the Rumble chat. Sorry if I missed any questions. I'm trying to keep an eye out. Hello, Boomer. Hello, Boomer. Yeah. What is Sam's guide to dealing with the police? I think you did sort of mention it a little bit earlier, but it'd be good if you sort of expound on your experiences, because I think that's something that worries a lot of people.
It depends what you mean by dealing with the police, but I mean...
interacting with them.
A simple rule of being able to, let's say, successfully dealing with the police is... well, I was going to be facetious and just say you just need to be over 100 IQ and you can easily deal with them because they're all 99. But it's about understanding their processes and understanding their language. Like, for example, the recent video I made about CCTV, when I just sort of stroll up to those armed policemen behind the gate, I said to them I wanted to account for my actions in advance. That's their language, account for my actions. Yeah. Because, when a policeman comes up and asks for your ID because he's suspicious about you, what he really wants, he wants to just get your ID because that's their bread and butter, is running names and stuff through their systems. But really, what they want is for you to speak to them so that they can judge your psychology and your background, which I think in a lot of ways I have a bit of an advantage because I'm articulate and what people would say I sound a bit posh. That immediately sets them back, right? Where they're like, oh, I think I might have they're starting to worry about whether or not they can, because they really want to win the argument, right? They really want to be correct and they really want to tell you they want to be the authority. So
they've got to keep the position.
But the thing is that as a man with no affiliation to any kind of organization or no standard operating procedures as a man, you have more of a free rein to talk your way out of a situation where the police are really, they're stuck in this very regimented set of ideas. And as long as you know what their regimented set of ideas are, I mean, this is the foundation of the study of rhetoric, isn't it? Yeah. Controlling your debate, the person who's opposite you in the debate, you control what they speak by backing them into a corner, by understanding their psychology. You know what I mean? That's I think technically how back in the day they felt about how to win a debate was about manipulating your opponent by using your intelligence. But I don't actually think about it like that. When a policeman comes up to me, in some of the older videos, where I'm having proper confrontations with the police and I'm winning those confrontations, it's sheer adrenaline. Yeah, that's all. It's absolute 100%.
And knowing your rights, that's the main thing. You had maybe the adrenaline helped you have the ability to stand up to them, but the fact that you do push back and resist their claims of authority.
A bit with the undercover cunt, I would say, got a bit tense, right? Where he called you. So what did he call you? Like a dick or something? He called you something, and then you called him out. Like, why did you call me? And then
called me a prick.
Yeah, a prick. That was it.
I think you were filming.
That was the win immediately, right?
Mm-hmm. I kind of felt like also like that guy is watching your content and he doesn't like you're showing all those things. Like, you must antagonize some of them as well. Like,
Yes.
I mean,
especially the ones in the
but it is because
in the high tower. Those guys.
Yeah, it is because you're basically refusing their claim of authority. As some said,
Yeah.
they have an inbuilt or an entrained need to be the one who's seen as being in the position of authority. So if you supersede their authority, they see that as being a personal attack on them. It's an ego attack.
That's a threat.
Yeah. So they have to sort of fight back against you. Then they want to
Especially
dominate
to the
you.
secret handshake guys, right? Like, we're Masons, we're brothers.
It's also important to be nice.
Yeah.
You know,
Be
Sure.
courteous.
I went to this digital ID protest on Saturday,
Mhm.
and like immediately before it even started, there was this line of police on motorbikes who were the ones that were going to be like, you know, leading the march or whatever, cutting through the human traffic. And as soon as I turned up, before the march even started, you know, people were calling them horrible names, and they're just sitting there on their motorbikes, and I'm just thinking, that's really not the way to go about it. I mean, we don't know anything about these people. These might be the good ones, and you don't want to be alienating the good ones by treating them all as if they're the bad ones.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you'll find out soon enough if they're bad guys, because they will express themselves upon you. Yeah.
Well, we're
Yeah.
now right in that play, right, where they are playing both sides against each other, right? With the it's the Palestinian-Israel thing, it's the climate change thing, it's the stop
Wait, are
oil
you sure? I
crowd.
think
It's
climate change is not happening anymore, right? Greta Thunberg.
well, Greta's on a boat in Palestine, so she's busy with other stuff. But
Now the climate's being changed by Israel. Now she's getting involved.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, well, that ceasefire is panning out fucking wonderful.
It's just the sheer amount of dust they must have caused to go. I'm being facetious, you know, but yeah.
No, they banned her already, right? She's already in Sweden, back home, safe.
Supposedly, yeah.
Yeah. She got tortured, she said.
Tortured.
Well, yeah. That did bother me, because if you've ever heard some of the witness reports of how the Palestinians themselves
Are
get
they actually
tortured,
being tortured? Yeah. Well, I could show you the
and
video. but
she's
no.
claiming that because they made her wear a flag round her shoulders and kiss the flag and stuff like that, that means she was tortured. And it's like, for fuck's sake, no. You were not fucking... Go and talk to somebody who was a child soldier in fucking Ghana or something like that, for fuck's sake. Sorry.
I think the virtue signaling kind of influencer is also kind of done and dusted, right? The whole woke thing that is over.
Yeah, what happened to SJWs, man?
Yeah, the day
SJWs, they were fun.
People got tired of them, basically, you know.
Yeah.
You've only got so much patience for dealing
Well, we got
with
an
people
actual
like that.
genocide going on. Maybe that's
Sorry, Rob.
I've just posted in the chat a old way that Sam used to deal with the police, and that was when he went to visit the Grove back in 2013. And
Just
that
run away
way
from the helicopter.
when he shouts them
yeah,
down.
when you were running away from the helicopter and you got accosted by those police, and you refused to give your name, and you got helped out by a former a resident of the Grove, who was then also happened to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
Did you have a nice cup of tea with him, Sam?
I did, yeah. I had coffee. I don't drink tea.
Oh, coffee.
But yeah, that was fun. I'll tell you what, the amount of adrenaline that went through my body in that experience meant that I basically just didn't feel normal for about 2 weeks.
Really?
It was really an extremely stressful situation.
You handled it immensely well, though, mate.
Halfway through, you can tell I'm going, okay, I'm extremely stressed out. Just give me 30 seconds. I need 30 seconds of silence. And that was because I was just like, my heart was going, I was shaking. It's really intense. When you got armed police, you know, coming at you, it's intimidating. I wouldn't say scary, but just intimidating. Like super.
Well, you still came back to the Grove, though.
I did. Yeah.
And similar to when they're questioning it, they rely on that experience of intimidation, or that sense of intimidation. Yep. Most of what they do is nothing to do with utilizing the firearm. It's just letting you see it.
Yeah.
And you still managed not to give them your name, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I told them.
Can I ask you a question, Sam? What do you watch right now? What's at the top of your list of watching on YouTube or social media. What are you looking out for right now, or following?
Let me click on YouTube and
Starfish
see what comes up.
Troopers.
Okay, so when I click on YouTube,
Yeah.
it's giving me F1 news, tactical WAP.
Hey,
Hey, and that's
Hey,
anyway, Sam.
good.
My son
I
works
like
for
him.
EA
10
Games.
plus points for Sam. Hang on.
Oh, wait.
Yep. Oh,
Yeah, well,
sorry.
the people who made the terrible game about the F1 game that everyone hates.
Yeah,
That one.
yeah, that's right.
His son is not involved at all.
No,
He
he's not.
he helps push the corporate slop.
I'm also getting DJ audits. I have been watching an unhealthy amount of DJ audits because I have to say, during my hiatus, I didn't realize this whole auditing thing had happened. And now that I'm back, I started to, look, because I don't know, but yeah, I discovered this auditing stuff, and DJ audits, I think, is pretty cool, man. He's actually the auditor, the only auditor I've found that's actually got proper brains and a sense of humor. And I think he's pretty great. People are probably bored of it by now, right? Because everybody else has just been watching these things for years and they're totally bored of them by this point. But
well, yeah, I think it's probably run its course, but in that process, it's helped evolve people like him.
The most
people who are
popular one,
genuinely
right?
good at doing it, but also have the ability to, not take it too seriously or
Yeah.
take it over the top. Yeah.
I
most
like to think that
popular-
I'm the original auditor, though.
I was going to
you don't
say
realise
that.
that I
Sam. I
am
think
the
you
original
were
auditor.
actually, mate.
I think
Have you seen how
2012
many views that Charlie Veach gets, even though he's a Zionist scum, in my opinion?
Well, yeah.
Well,
It's,
have you seen what
it's a
Tommy
bit
Robinson is up to? Oh my God.
Oh God, yeah.
That's
It's
that's
very
just
awkward to
painful.
watch.
No, Tommy
Fucking
Rubenstein.
painful.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
That's him.
part of the problem, though, isn't it?
Well,
It's,
again,
we've
it's
been-
they're playing out the
We've been hedged into a corner where we're now expected to react more to controversy and drama than just straight, good, healthy information with a touch of humour. Now people prefer to click on the controversial shit. So people like them end up getting more viewers now, considering most of what they do is just trash. It's just content trash. It's mental bubble gum.
Yeah.
I could get seriously.
Well,
ranty
there's
about
two
some of that
ways
shit,
as a
but-
marketing kind of a guy, right? You can trigger your testosterone. That's with women.
It's the amygdala.
Yeah, the
And
amygdala
with the
hijack.
threat of, they're coming for your children, your family, they're coming for you, they're coming to get you. Apocalypse now,
That is something that I've
doomsday.
always disagreed with. This sense of fear and urgency that in the whole conspiracy world, people tend to push a lot because I don't know does it get them views or something like that. Where they're like,
It does on the
end is
algorithm.
coming,
Yeah, fear porn.
you've only
Fear
got
porn.
3
Yeah,
years.
fear porn element.
And one of the messages I've always tried to send is like, look, this has been going on for so long.
Yes.
It's not that they push that idea. They want to push the idea that we're near the end and there's no hope and all that kind of stuff because it forces us to get into this sort of short-termism, and then we don't plan for the future. Whereas in the meantime, they're doing, 100-year game theory, So
Well, I had at least 10 end of the world parties this last time.
yeah, exactly. Was that with alcohol? Yeah.
It's predicated on the same psychology we were talking about earlier. And I feel years ago, I came to the same conclusion. They do the same stuff with religions. They try to convince you it's the end of the world so that you're forced to make a choice. And the government have learned to do, the secret societies that control the governmental system learned to do the same thing a long time ago. They give us a false dichotomy. They choose the left and right for us to select from. And then they tell us we have to do it now, otherwise the world will end. So they utilize that fear of constant catastrophe or looming crisis, the doom on the horizon, so that they can persuade you to pick one side or the other. You're forced to play their false dichotomy game. Tell them to fuck off, full stop.
Can I just say, Anoic Arc, we do see your comments, but somehow I've just looked on my phone.
Some of them disappear on YouTube.
They're disappearing, so I don't know what's going on. He's saying that he can only see 3 people in the chat. So something's going on.
It's something to do with YouTube, then, not us.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with us.
Got a
mate.
backup
No,
YouTube
hang on, I'll switch on
stream
the
going on. Is
chat
he in
again so you can
a
see
different
that.
stream?
Yeah, we're not restricting anything. It's
No, you can see all the chat appear on the screen now again. So if
Yeah.
they disappear here, you can see them at least on the stream. Because we can
yeah,
see them.
on the side.
That's so weird. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Can I qualify what I meant? Because I can see some people in chat talking about DJ
Yes.
audits and stuff. Can I qualify what I meant about DJ audits? What
Yeah,
I
good.
really, really like, it's not necessarily like an individual video or really how he goes about it or how he's sometimes he's combative on purpose and stuff like that. But what I like is the absolute purest transparency of what he's doing, right? And how many people that he interacts with just want the complete opposite. They don't want to give you any information. They don't even want you taking a picture of them. They don't want you anywhere near their buildings.
Mhm.
They want to say that the public footpath is a private thing, just try and get rid of you. They'll lie to you. And what he's doing is just saying, no, it's a camera.
Well,
It's just a camera.
to clear things more up for the American audience, he's going to migrant hotels and showing how
D-
it
DJ Audit
goes
doesn't go
down.
to migrant
Mostly,
hotels.
right.
DJ Audits doesn't go to migrant hotels.
Doesn't he?
He does industrial sites.
Oh, I thought he did. Okay.
I don't think the Americans
Take
have
that back then.
experienced the audit phenomena. I don't ever see anyone creating content from an American auditor point of view. They just don't do it. Maybe
shot.
because their police is up. Yeah, if their police are armed and you start being like some of them are here, they get really in the police's face, and they deliberately try to antagonize them. Because, like I mentioned earlier, the algorithm prefers controversial content. So these fuckers go out and deliberately create drama in the street so that they get more clicks on the YouTube. That's why that element of it bothers me, because that's falling into the trap of this society of the spectacle. It's one of the worst things about this technology. This technology is an amazing tool that we can use to share information and ideas with each other, but it can also be exploited to lead people into the most depraved and self-deprecating situations just to get attention, just to get clicks. And we're starting to see that happen now.
The street interview kind of a problem, right? You can edit the street interview the way you want it. Like you can make people say whatever the fuck you want.
Do a vox pops on it. Yeah.
Do a vox pop and so you can show Birmingham from the fucking most darkest side, but you can also take a positive side and look at areas that have improved and have taken it onto themselves and blah blah blah, whatever, right? So that's the choice, but there is a lot of that out there right now, and it is a big problem. So you cannot ignore it either. Like, it's fine that some people make a living out of it, or
yes, but it would be. I feel,
you have to be aware that they are making a living out of it. So they're not interested in the positive stories. They're not interested in certain sides of the
because
narrative.
large parts of the population have
Always
been infantilized.
Yeah.
They've been convinced that they have to live in an environment where everything is like a toddler's nursery room. Everything is padded, everything is safe. Nobody's going to make them upset.
You mean transvestites stripping? Is that what you mean by toddler?
Story time kind of shit. Yeah, that as well. That's part of it. Well, that's
and the mainstream media version of it, right? We are getting a whitewashed, literally, kind of a version of the whole migrant issue, and on the BBC
not
and
just
ITVs
that,
and all that.
Like, reality. Yeah. They don't want people to see reality for what it is.
So these guys put a camera.
You live in fucking rainbow fairyland.
Yeah, and putting a camera in the painful spots is not a bad thing at all.
It's good to remind people of what reality is actually like. But I was going to ask, Sam, on that point. I mean, you mentioned the trans agenda, but I would extend that, and I would point out, I feel anyway, arguably, the trans agenda, the gender agenda, is a step towards transhumanism, posthumanism, and the digital ID is interwoven into that concept. But what do you feel about how that is progressing? how that is sort of being absorbed by the public and the propaganda that's being pushed out to try and support it.
You mean the transgender stuff he's talking about?
Transgender and the transhumanism element.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just all part of the transhumanism possibly is kind of like a separate thing, but certainly the transgender thing is just part of pushing the chaos, isn't it? Get everybody confused, create this separation, just like in 1984, between somebody's thoughts and somebody, and so they're not allowed. Everyone knows now they're not allowed to say what they really think. And that's part of it, isn't it? To get people into that position where they're scared of what their own brain. It's like, oh, I think my brain is racist or something. But all these people are getting into this battle with their own instincts, and trying to convince people that their instincts are incorrect. You know what I mean? That's what it's about. The transhumanist thing, I think, is different. Transhumanism is just, what the elite, how the elite see.
Do you not see it as the trans agenda is a stepping stone to transhumanism? Because if you can persuade the public to accept a relativism point of view on their own body, if you can make them deny their own eyes and their own sense of their physical self, and tell them that all they need to do is chop bits off and they can be whatever the fuck they want. That's the equivalent to transhumanism, which will say the same thing, but from a technological point of view. You can have robot legs. Why only run at 5 miles an hour when you can run at 50? To me, it's one and the same thing, just approached from different directions.
They'd have you. They'd put you on a speed limiter, so your legs could only run at 49, and the police could run at 51.
Yeah, they have prohibited what they call the razor blades. Have you seen them for the sprinters? Amputee sprinters.
Oh, yes,
they have these massive, like curved. They call them razor blades. They're prosthetics that give them an extra bounce, and they banned them from competition because it made them far too fast to compete with other humans.
Yeah.
So disabled people, thanks to the prosthetics, the technology, the transhuman intervention, are now more capable than natural humans.
Yeah.
Have you picked up on the trend of the great noticing?
No. What's that?
Well,
great noticing.
Well, people are now tying everything to the Jews, right? It's a classical kind of a There's a lot happening in Israel right now with Palestine and the genocide, and so people are asking questions, right? And on the other side of the pond, it's like, oh, AIPAC, well, they're funding a lot of politicians, right? And then if you dig a little bit in British history and how Israel got formed, and all the bullshit that Keir Starmer is spouting right now, and how it all people are starting to notice stuff, right? So there's always seemed to be a third party kind of giggling in the corner of the room, chuckling away at us fighting amongst each other, quibbling, right? It seems to play into a certain group's agenda. So that's what they're calling the great noticing. So the Zionism, the Talmudic, all that stuff. Have you noticed that?
I mean, what they're doing is they're pushing conspiracy theorists. They want everyone to be a conspiracy theorist. Literally, the entire world have become conspiracy theorists.
9/11 already did that for me.
Well,
we were early adopters. Yeah, that's what you know now, because you were already interested in these subjects before they made it trendy.
We had JFK before that, right?
Yeah.
What was your wake-up moment, Sam? Where you realised everything was a conspiracy.
Yeah, when my worldview kind of shattered.
When your old world
2009. I was working for Greenpeace, and I was already starting to see through their thing and starting to realise that there was more going on than people were telling me.
Climate change, yeah.
And so at that same time, I stumbled across Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, the movie.
What year was that then?
Yeah, 2009, I think.
Oh, right, 2009, yeah.
And it's only because I've got quite a strong background in physics and there was that physics teacher that did those videos about building 7 and showing and explaining how a building can actually fall at fast and free fall speed, with the whole creation of the vacuum inside to create a consolidated rubble pile and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That really
twisted your melon.
and then of course you go to then why were the BBC lying? When that's how it happens, isn't it? It's really like the crux of it, of your worldview falling apart and you realizing that something weird is going on, is when you realize that the media, you can't trust the media at all. In fact, the media is weaponized against your own brain.
Has a narrative.
Yeah.
What year were you chasing the Greenpeace leader around at Glastonbury?
Yeah, that was the same year, I think, 2009. Yeah,
2009. I think I was there in 2009. I've been to Glastonbury about 7 times.
Which one? The one that left or the one that stayed? Because the one that left is kind of all right, right? Patrick Moore. Is it?
Oh no, it was that he left so many years ago. No, it was just like he
was one of the founders.
The director of Greenpeace. I can't remember. I don't remember what his name is.
I'm sure you cannot mention his name in Greenpeace if you're there.
Yeah, that was a funny one. The thing that really broke me out of, I used to be an evangelist about climate or global warming, as it was back then. I really was an evangelist. But the thing that made me break out of that was that when everybody was saying that the green big oil, wants to destroy the green movement, and after doing my own research, because I've always liked to do my own research rather than trusting people, what people tell me, I found that actually it's the opposite. That all the big global oil companies all want the green agenda, because it sort of creates a scarcity for their product, right? As in, like, they restrict how much oil is allowed to be extracted. That drives the price up. They love it. They love it. So, and when I brought that up, like in the head office amongst all the hippie people, suddenly they started treating me completely different. Like, how could I say such a thing? How could I question such a thing? And me, just being sort of an evidence-led kind of person, just going, just look at the evidence.
Yeah.
Can't you just look at the evidence and that whole thing where, like, literally nearly all of them turned against me just because I had a single opinion that actually the oil companies want the green agenda. That was so threatening to them for whatever reason that they all turned against me and started treating me like I was a pariah and an enemy.
Yeah.
Guess who holds the patent? Guess who holds the patent on solar energy?
Who?
Shell.
Yeah, that makes sense. They are an energy company.
It's over 100 years old already.
Yeah.
Like, solar
this is why they like the anthropogenic climate change narrative.
I think ExxonMobil has the wind kind of element of it, the generators.
Yeah.
And Siemens.
Because they know that
make the Tesla generators, kind of.
The control system is going to replace the current paradigm with another paradigm that can also have a meter fitted to it.
Ooh,
so they're not worried about this change. They like you say, it creates artificial scarcity that they appreciate for the way it increases their value.
I have sort of I would say quite a controversial philosophy on climate change and environmental destruction nowadays, which is that I think that we're supposed to. Can I swear? I should swear.
Yeah,
we're supposed to destroy this planet, right? We are supposed to destroy
a certain group, yeah.
Because only by destroying the planet do we learn how to live on desolate rocks, which is basically the future of any species that leaves their home planet. There is nothing really out there other than desolate rocks, unless you want to live in a gas giant or something in a bubble.
I disagree. They've found thousands. They've found thousands of exoplanets now. And
but the universe will not allow us to travel between.
There must be some lush fucking paradise out there with women with big titties.
In that aspect, I somewhat agree with you in the sense of I think we're going to find it very difficult to move from one planet to another.
Well, it's impossible. The faster you go, the slower you go.
And not just that, I don't think our biology can cope with it. I don't believe they put people on the moon. I think they sent robotic systems to the moon. And people have only ever been up in the atmosphere. They've never been outside of this Earth's atmosphere, not truly outside into what they call space, even though it's not space. Yeah, whatever. But no, I don't think the human biology or psychology can cope with being outside the Van Allen belt if we can even get through it without dying from radiation.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that, but yeah.
I'm not sure on that either.
Yeah.
No.
I'm
They're willing to
maximalist.
sacrifice some fucking soldiers to radiation. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And a lot of them died of cancer.
Sam, may I ask you a question
Yes.
about you're so knowledgeable about London. There's a lot of talk now. A lot of popular YouTubers talk about about resets, about mud floods, about that sort of thing, and Greco-Romano buildings. Do you ever question the history that's put out there about the buildings and what they were maybe intended for?
What do you mean intended?
Tartarian, the Tartarian
Empire. The Tartarian theory.
Have you heard of the Tartarian Empire?
I'm muting myself so that I don't start shouting.
I don't go for it, I'm afraid. I don't go for the flood stuff. I don't go for flat Earth stuff.
Thank God.
I'm a militantly what's the word? I'm militantly forward with my anti-flat Earth opinions.
Okay.
And it's something that you can actually prove to yourself as long as you understand how to prove it to yourself. You don't have to trust anybody. There are signs that remind us all, like, for example, that the sun is very far away. It's not inside any kind of dome. It cannot be. And you can prove that to yourself without having to trust anybody or even look on the internet at all. Just simply by getting a fixed frame camera with a solar filter, taking a picture of the sun when it's near the horizon, taking a picture of the sun when it's above you, overlaying them on Photoshop and realizing they're exactly the same angular size. If the sun was closer and inside of the firmament, it would be smaller on the horizon and bigger above you. There's another one as well, which you can prove to yourself. And this is counterintuitive. And I think that's the problem that a lot of people have, is that sometimes the stuff that's counterintuitive, unless they've encountered the idea of counterintuitive stuff, they will distrust it. But the one thing, like, you often see, like, I watch old flat Earth videos and stuff. They'll stand on top of a cliff and they'll look at over the sea and they'll say, "Where's the curve?" And my answer to that is, why would you expect to be seeing a curve on the horizon? If the horizon was curved, then it wouldn't be behind you. It has to be a straight line so that it's behind you when you look around. Do you get that? And that's like a form of proof, isn't it? Like, there is a curve.
Well, the horizon itself is proof of the curve, right?
Well,
It falls
the
off.
curve-
Like, go on a boat and your boat will disappear.
Oh yeah, but what they are looking for is like a curve, like a sort of
Sure,
you know,
sure.
like a hump
The
shape.
curvature from left to
Yeah.
right, but
Because
they
of course
won't take
there is-
account the curvature from front to back.
The
Yeah,
curve
I mean-
that you're looking for when you look at the horizon is the circle that's your field of view all the way around you. And if you then went up to severe altitude, then you would see that, because you're not looking at the horizon anymore. You're looking below you, right? So the only way that the horizon, if you look at the horizon, it's in front of your eyes and it's not behind you, it's because you're at extremely high altitude and you're actually looking down.
Yeah, look, yeah, you don't have to
So,
convince
I know
me
it's
or
people don't
or
like
anybody,
it,
you know.
and
Flat earthers are so fucking convinced of themselves that it doesn't matter what you say.
I can tell you, because I used to.
We have encountered a few.
Yeah, I used to. The only reason I'm so militant about it is because of the amount of flat earthers I used to encounter when I was on YouTube before.
They're nice people.
But the point is, this is why it happens, right? Let me explain to you how people get so attached to the idea of flat Earth.
Yes,
because they find out that the media is lying and all these conspiracies are real, and their worldview breaks apart, but they do not have the proper understanding to then rebuild it themselves. It's like they suddenly found themselves afloat in the ocean, and what they have to do is, like, they try and find anybody's island to keep them afloat, like psychologically, and they don't have the ability to build their own island. So really all you have to do is keep your feet on the ground, because what this thing of like saying that space is fake and all of this kind of stuff, what it does, it removes the foundation beneath your feet.
Yes.
And then when somebody like me comes along and goes, oh, don't you realize that's bullshit? They go, you must be one of them. You're an evil person. La la. It immediately become aggressive and irrational.
You're attacking their new world that they've just rebuilt.
Yeah. They're like, no, I don't want to go floating in the ocean again. It took me a long time to find this island.
Yeah.
You know, and my
It's a
message
form.
is build
It's a
your
form
own.
of-
Don't trust people. Don't parrot things. Don't copy paste things. Try and find a way to research things yourself. And I'm of the opinion, right? I do disagree with flat earthers a lot, but there's one thing that flat earthers and people like me have in common, and that's we're both against the push towards a global government. And I think there's a lot of to do with the conspiracy movement. It's about looking backwards and getting obsessed about little details about the past. What we really need to be doing as a group, no matter what our opinions are, is looking forwards and trying to stop these C words from creating a global government.
Yes, I totally
That's
agree.
what we have in common, and that's what we need to focus on. We need to stop arguing about mud floods and flat earth and whatever, and start
And
looking ahead.
Steel frame buildings can fall into their own footprint at 3/4 speed because of office fires.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, I heard that too.
It's the
In fact,
same.
I melt steel all the time at home by holding it above a candle.
Yeah. It's about creating an obsession with relativism that's predicated as well on an element of hope. Because like you described earlier, and I've talked about it from the point of view of the bereavement process, when people realise their government, their media has lied to them, then it makes them question their whole acceptance of how the world works. So that's the equivalent of their entire world has just died and they have to rebuild it from scratch. So that makes most people extremely anxious and upset and depressed. And in comes somebody with this idea of, oh, don't worry, it's all just God's plan. You're actually living on a flat plane and he's looking at you like he's watching a snow globe. Everything could be fine. It's an element of hopium that exploits their bereavement process. Yes, it is a copium. Yeah, it's a better way of saying it.
What do you think of NASA, Sam? Do you think NASA's genuine and
no,
never a straight answer?
Not. Absolutely not.
You don't think they're up in the space shuttle?
Not a space agency.
I believe that that space rockets can go to space. It's pretty easy to go into space.
Oh yeah.
What about the shuttle?
Enough thrust. That's all you need.
What about the shuttle?
What about the shuttle?
You think that it's genuine?
Well, I think NASA have lied about so much and fabricated so much. I mean, I used to be of the case of going that I this 1969 moon landings were real. I am now, although I do believe that Apollo, I think it's Apollo 16, Apollo 17, definitely went to the moon, but Apollo, the moon landing, JFK moon landing,
the
pretty sure was fake.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, evolution.
Yeah.
And NASA,
because we got less and less video of all those missions, right?
Yeah,
it's like we got the perfect shots on the first one, and we got lesser interesting shots on all the other missions.
On the subsequent
ones, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
as
you would get better at it.
As an amateur astronomer, you can actually fire a laser at the moon and have some of the photons reflect back because of the reflectors they put there in Apollo 16.
Yeah. But that's where I say that all of that was done by robotic systems, not people.
The Russians were on the moon.
Because of the Van Allen belt, you mean?
Yes, more than likely, yeah.
Yeah, but it just means those people are going to get cancer. Well, they don't care about astronauts getting cancer.
Possibly, yes.
Was a military mission, Cookie.
Yeah, no, they have to basically sign.
They signed off like, okay.
Yeah, I know, I get it, yeah.
Forgotten country, wee.
Well, on a similar vein, can I ask you my somewhat technical question before we run out of time, because it's getting up, we're near enough on the hour already.
Yep.
And I want to really dig into your brain with this, because I I get the impression from the videos that you make that this is a major part of your thinking when you're putting together the package of how you present the information. Yeah. And I know this is going to sound a bit technical. I'm not doing this deliberately to sound big-headed or whatever. It's just I'm genuinely interested in your perspective on this element of what it is you're doing. Yeah. Do you know about epigenetics before I say it? Yeah. You know what epigenetics is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What do you think about and how you present your information, including the concept that epigenetics affects the built environment that we experience on a psychosocial level as a society? In other words, the way we build our infrastructure, our cities, our towns, yeah, does it affect us psychologically? And are we basically being subjected to a self-fulfilling prophecy? Because they're like the billboard you showed on the video clip. Are they deliberately introducing us into a built environment that is going to force us down a psychological path?
Oh, I mean, I'd love to say that I knew, but I mean,
It
certainly,
comes across in your content and the way
certainly
you present your information. I think it's definitely there.
every single building that's designed, and even whole regions of buildings like Canary Wharf, for example, is built with some kind of psychological effect in mind, designed into it. And I think maybe in the old days when they would build with stone and have influences from the ancient world and all that kind of stuff, they were actually obsessed with the psychological effect of things, especially when they built abbeys and churches and stuff like that, because the ancient texts will tell you about the harmonious the volume of air inside a certain room harmonizing with the resonance of it and stuff, and how that affects a person when they're having a spiritual experience and all that kind of stuff. Obviously the ancients were also massively high on ayahuasca and stuff, which helped with their feelings about these things. So naturally, when for example, when they went and built in India and stuff like that, and they designed massive pictures and stuff on the ground, this was all to do with how the ancients controlled large amounts of people psychologically by just the environment that they're in. And that certainly has transferred into modern buildings as well, but of course with the caveat that some buildings are just shit because the architect was shit and didn't know anything. But certainly when it comes to like a mega corporation, they don't seem to do it so much anymore, but like a mega corporation comes along and builds some kind of brand new building, they build into it domination, piercing, reflection for like
I was thinking of things like during the entrepreneurial phase, the late 1800s, early 1900s, when you had people like Cadbury and Tesco creating mini villages where everything was a controlled, built environment. They were like a 15-minute city modern concept.
Like Welland Garden City is the perfect example of that. They're all Freemasons. You can see their sketches. And it's all to do with flow of energy, flow of people, flow of energy from system, like the organs of a body, basically.
Yes.
Creating the arterial flow to kind of perfect the human machine, the humans working together in one thing as a machine sort of thing. They definitely did that stuff. They were obsessed with it, in fact.
The recent video you did where you were exploring some of those what should we call them, security sites with the interchanges, the exchanges, but during your exploration you visited a couple of places which were data analytics of one form or another, and some of them had quite interesting titles to them, which to me seem to be about the study of how people are interacting with their environment, with the built environment. So do you think that's become more of a thing for the people that think they rule over us? Do you think they're more interested in building mousetopia, as it were,
I mean,
for us all to live
I
in.
think all they really want out of us is just to shut up and give them our money.
Tax money.
And so
Yeah.
if they can build, you know, nice straight corridors where you know your thoughts are given to you from screens as you're going along.
Your
or-
universal income, right?
yeah, and you just get on with it, and they can use you as a tax farm. You just shut up and get on with it. That's essentially what they want. They do want us as just sort of silent animals. You know,
Good
on a hamster
slave,
wheel.
bad slave, good
They
slave.
don't want any trouble. You know, the thing that they've done. And actually, I think in more recent history, the sort of conspiracy chaos that's being pushed is just because they tried for so long to keep the cap on information as the internet got broader and broader and more free, and people had this sudden freedom of information where people could learn things from one another and all of this kind of stuff. They kind of got scared, right, and tried to sort of shut it all down, and it failed. And then this whole disinformation thing came along, and they were like, right, you want chaos? Let's go. And
They love
the
that.
only way that they can gain control is to create so much chaos that we beg them to do something about it.
Order out of chaos,
Well,
isn't it?
As part of answering Rob's question, you mentioned, you know, that sort of observation about Tartaria, or I feel it's a psyop that's been created, you know, a certain storyline that they try to sell people. But you've also mentioned, you sort of acknowledge that ancient peoples understood how the built environment affected us, including in a spiritual sense. You know, when people are having that kind of epiphany moment in a spiritual ecstasy, in a moment of worship, when they're at their religious center, you know, church or synagogue or whatever it is. Yeah. So, do you think there is something to that spiritual, energetic process that is benefited by the built environment if you build a nice environment, or do you think that's just a bit too much woo-woo kind of stuff? Yeah.
I think there is a danger in thinking that some of these occult practices, even if it's numerology, you know, a lot of people maybe start to think that it has some hidden power and that they can use it to their advantage, and that's basically just people getting interested in like Wicca and witchcraft and sex magic and all of that kind of stuff, which obviously has taken off in the new age, like, and never really stopped. Really, is gaining momentum now. TikTok actually is partly to blame for spreading the new age now. But certainly, I mean, I believe that effect. I mean, I've experienced it myself. When you're in a group of people and you're all sort of focused on the same thing, there is a sort of energy that gets created, or you feel an energy at least. And honestly, I think it's just to do with mirror neurons. So you know, we're set up to mirror each other, and when lots of people are mirroring each other and we're all doing the same thing, there's this sort of like harmonious brain activity where we all start to share the same brain activity. And I think I think
I would highly recommend watching that film Baraka. After what we've been discussing, you watch that, you'll see. I know you watched the Corona Karatzi, so you'll have an idea. But yeah, that's kind of what he covers in that movie.
But I'd be wary of it, you know.
Or how
like,
do we?
People associate me with the number 33, like I somehow like the number 33, but I really don't like the number 33.
33.
I research
the magic
occultism,
number,
but I do not like occultism. I research Freemasons. I don't like Freemasons. I think they're all a total bunch of freaks.
Twats.
So, same for me, mate. I've learned a lot about them over the years, probably more than most of their own members know. But there's no way I'd ever join them. Yeah, I'm not interested in that kind of shit. I would not participate in it. I don't think it's useful to us. Yeah, but yes,
they can build a good building, you know.
Yeah, they're good at perpetuating the knowledge of good architecture. Yeah, that's great. And you could argue that some of that includes psychology and what I could call spirituality within each person. You know, we each perceive it differently, but yeah, they have certainly learned how to successfully manipulate people, both individually and en masse. And I think that's some of what we're now seeing.
Well, the social media, you know, has been a weapon,
environment.
and now they're, you know, using the weapon. And
well, that's why I wanted to know what you thought about the built environment, as in the towns and cities, the way they're being developed at the moment with things like that surveillance technology. Yeah.
It's like you say as well, Cookie. World War III has started a long time ago with all this social media shit and
Yeah,
the
information.
weaponizing of the left and the right and your opinions and your feelings and everything.
Yeah.
But I have a promo to play, and then we're gonna play us out. I want to thank Sam very much for joining us.
Oh, thanks
Yes,
for having me.
thank you. Thanks. For
And
chatting.
Borked, he hasn't, he didn't have to intervene that much.
He's
so,
had to plug himself into the charger.
Okay, good. He's a robot then. Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad we didn't
That's
get
a-
into areas
That's
that
confirmed.
were difficult. Yeah.
Mhm. I got a promo for Rob's super
Right,
exciting
okay.
show tomorrow. So here we go.
One hit wonders on Health Freedom UK. Send you one hit wonders, music choice in the chat. One hit wonders on Health Freedom UK. With not a doctor, Robin Lowell on his pew.
And the wrong spelling on Rumble.
Yeah, Rumble. Wow. Yeah, I still have
Sam,
faith in-
do you do Rumble as well? Do you post on Rumble?
I've only ever put one video on Rumble just as an experiment, and then I never actually looked back to see if it got any views. I presume it probably didn't.
Okay.
I mean, going on to Rumble is a bit like
we
Skype.
actually get more views on Rumble than we get on YouTube.
Yeah.
But the algos on YouTube are not very kind for
No.
us. So
We definitely
they
should.
never been.
So everyone, yes, bring me your one-hit wonders tomorrow, please. And we are going to have the monthly music show on Health Freedom UK. Thanks, Sam, by the way. I really appreciate you being here tonight and answering all these questions. It was great.
All those
Well,
spooky
well,
questions. Yeah.
Can I ask one more question before we finish?
One more.
Yeah. Well, we ain't got anywhere else to
Well,
be.
maybe two. Go on.
Is there anything you wanted to tell us or
Yes.
ask us or
Good
say
question.
before you go? Yeah.
Are you sure that's a good question? Because I don't think I have an answer for it.
You don't need to have an answer.
no, yeah.
Well, just do a
Is there
shameless
something
plug
we
then.
missed?
What
Or,
would you like us
Is
to?
there
What
something
would
in
you like to leave
particular
us
you
with?
wanted to mention?
yeah.
Don't use ChatGPT. If you're going to and stop no more AI slop, right? Everyone has to have an amnesty on AI slop.
You need to tell
Mhm.
Pete that, by the way.
Nah,
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Let's not.
encouraging me, Rob. Cunt.
Sam,
Fucking hell.
I showed him. I showed him. I
Oh,
was
can you
eating-
make me an AI slop video
I
for
was
me,
eating
Pete?
crab,
Sure.
down in London the other day, right? Okay, and I showed him a photo, and within 2 minutes, he turned me into eating crab in AI. It was
Yeah, it was horrible. I
Scary.
know, but you did like it though.
Yeah,
down in
it
Borough
was-
Market.
The private one he did for himself was far worse.
Wait, does anyone ever have one of those dreams where you're trying to run but you can't run properly?
Yeah,
One of those?
I had one
Yep.
last night.
I never looked at some of the early AI videos where that's kind of you want the guy to run but he's not really running and his legs don't really work properly, and that proves simulation theory, right? Hang on.
Welcome in the Matrix.
so we're leaving you with a one-hit wonder tonight. By the way,
Yeah. I want to say
Okay.
thanks to everyone in the chat. Thanks to all the people that are tuning in.
Yeah,
And any
thanks,
of you
Cookie.
late time travelers that are going to turn up later and watch it as a video afterwards, thank
Thanks,
you
Robert.
for tuning in.
like and
Thank you very
subscribe.
much, Sam, for joining us and chatting with us.
Yes.
Thanks,
very
Rob.
much.
Thanks,
And we're
Pete.
ending on 33.
I'll hope you join us again one time in the
Yeah,
future.
you're very welcome.
Yeah, you're always
Whenever you
welcome,
want,
mate.
just drop
Yeah,
Pete a
no
line.
problem, guys.
You can
I'm
become my
happy to come back.
sidekick if you want. No.
You're not editing my videos; they'll just turn into AI
no,
slop.
no.
No,
No, you're
absolutely not.
no, you're unique. So
Yes, we
you're
very much
precious, mate.
appreciate
You're
your
really
work.
something else. So,
I hate praise. Please be critical
No,
instead.
you're so great, man. You're fantastic.
Well, if I
You're
was going to be
amazing.
critical, I'd ask that you do more than just London. I know
yeah.
you're
Well, you better
based
subscribe
around
my
London.
Can you
Patreon,
widen your scope?
Even if you do it remotely, as in you don't actually go to the place, but I know you're good at using Google Earth and all
Yeah,
that.
but now
It'd be
we're
interesting to
suggesting
hear you
is to do
talking
stuff.
about
So.
other major cities, not just
Could-
London.
Just if I get to the point where my finances have stabilized because of income from YouTube, then I will have the
Yes.
freedom to go wherever the
Guys,
hell I
support
want.
him. Mhm.
Yes. I mean, it'd be
I
great
I
to
will
hear you.
go. I will go to lots of places because there are lots of places out of London that actually have all sorts of weird crap in them. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
much.
Sam, you're welcome to join us next June 21st in Milton Keynes.
Yeah, we got a meet and greet.
We're actually having a meet up.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Wow.
So, well,
let's discuss that off there. So
after the chat. Thanks, everybody. See you
thanks
next
again, everyone
week.
in the
See you
chat.
tomorrow for Rob Show. See you Wednesday for Starfish Troopers. And see you next week for Soul Excalibre
Yeah,
and
cheers.
Steve and the ladies on Friday. Good night.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cut cheese.
Hit it.
I will hit it.
Hit it.